All right, we're live. Patriots beat Sunday morning. Waking up with some coffee.
Yeah,
Usually
sound
we
more
get up,
disappointed, Mike.
huh? Hey, it's Sunday morning. We're
Sound more
competing with Phantom
disappointed.
Gourmet here. We're competing with the Phantom Gourmet here in the city of Boston. So you got to get up early on your Sunday, grab your coffee. I am live with 98.5 The Sports Hub's real Alex Barth on Twitter. Alex, how you doing on this Sunday morning?
Good. I'm ready to go. It's a big couple days ahead. It's in terms of transactions, this is the busiest couple of days on the NFL calendar. Things are gonna start flying around here. So uh, kind of get everything ready today, and then the next couple of days will be a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, it's good stuff. A year ago, we saw the Cam Newton news come down, and
Yep.
that was the craziest we've seen in a while. But let's start with some Patriots news that came out yesterday regarding rookie wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that he underwent surgery on Monday on his broken clavicle. Looks like he'll miss 6 to 8 weeks roughly, but he's expected to be able to take the field again this season. Thoughts on Thornton's injury and kind of where that puts their receiver room going forward?
I mean, I don't think much changes with this based on what we had heard initially. It's kind of the same timeline, right? 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
Realistically, you're looking at 7 weeks. I think I think the six number is a little misleading because for him to do that, it would mean not putting him on IR to start the season, which if he's going to miss 3 weeks, he's going to miss 4 at that point. I know
right.
that might drive some people off. Well, bring him back when he's ready. It's worth the roster spot that one extra week, right? Um, so and we went through the schedule right last time we did. I don't remember if that was with you or with Ryan, but we went through the schedule, me and somebody, like mid to late October. So that's what we thought. It definitely opens up the door for Lil Jordan Humphrey, maybe Trey Nixon. I think they do carry that extra receiver now.
Yeah,
They'll IR Wilkerson once they can, and then somebody else they cut. So it's a speed hit certainly. I think maybe you look
hmm
around the league and see who else gets cut if they don't keep Humphrey. Is there a guy who maybe more mirrors Thornton's skill set in terms of the speed that they could bring in just to start the season, and then you see where you go from there. But I think all things considered, missing a month and a half to start the season could be a lot worse. They generally ease rookies in
definitely.
anyway. I know people want to think that he was going to come out and just be this breakout star. I don't think he was going to play that much to start the season. So I don't think it impacts their overall plans too much. It is very disappointing. You have this promising rookie receiver. Now he's not going to get to start the season. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. But I don't
He
think
was
it
the
changes
story.
that
He was
much of
the
what they were
story
going
of
to do.
camp. Yeah, he was
Oh,
the
yeah.
story of camp. It was super exciting. It was finally
The
Belichick
positive story
drafts.
of camp.
Yes, yeah, yeah, fair. Positive story of camp. Finally, Belichick brings in this receiver after the duds he's had in the past. Any any injury concerns with Thornton? He's a small framed guy. He's long, but he's thin. Um, right out the gate, he's already injured. I know that happened with guys like N'Keal Harry, who was bigger, obviously. But any concerns on his injuries?
Right. No, I actually think that's a really good point. It happened to Kill Harry too. So they shouldn't have drafted him. He's too small. He's going to get hurt. I don't think that's entirely false, but there's no perfect prospect on the board, especially at that point. If it wasn't that thing or another, people are saying, well, they should
Right.
have taken George Pickens. Look what he's doing in
Sky
Pittsburgh,
Moore
and
too. Yeah.
he's
Right.
bigger. Well, I would say with Pickens specifically, go look at
Sure.
how many games George Pickens played in college and tell me there's no injury concerns with him. He's coming off a torn ACL. So if you took Pickens, there's an alternate universe where Pickens is here and he hurt his knee and Tyquan Thornton's tearing it up in Pittsburgh, right? So I think that's a false equivalency. With Sky Moore, he's almost a different position, right? He's that
Yeah.
true traditional slot receiver. If
hmm
you want to say they should have focused more on that kind of player, then it's a fair second guess. But what they were trying to get from the pick with Thornton, they just wouldn't have gotten with Sky Moore, whereas Pickens is more similar to Thornton. So, are there injury concerns with him? Sure. But he'll bulk up over his time in the NFL. I think that he'll lessen those concerns. And, at that point, you're picking in the draft, it's injury concerns or it's character concerns. Or maybe there's like a glaring flaw in terms of like there's a skill set a player doesn't have, right? With Sky Moore, he's really just in the slot. You're not putting him on the boundary. He's very limited in what he does. What he does do, he's excellent at, but he's not giving you much besides that. You're not going to pick a player and there's going to be no concern. It's going to be
Right.
something. And with Thornton, I think they figured he can put some weight on. We can kind of try to manage how we use him. And and manage the injury things early on. Unfortunately, that didn't happen completely, but I don't want to say it doesn't concern me because that's his red flag. But
Right.
any player they drafted there was going to have a red flag. So to say they made a bad pick, I think is a little disingenuous.
It's also a broken bone. It's not like it's, soft tissue stuff that's kind of seems more injury prone for some guys. It doesn't ring injury prone to me. It's kind of just a freak injury that happened off the bat, and he'll recover. He'll be back, like we say, 6 to 8 weeks, and hopefully he'll make an impact as soon as he can, because we all know this Patriots offense needs it. So let's get into a Pats Raiders summary from Friday. It was not a great end to the Patriots preseason, to say the least. They lost 23-6. It looked like the Raiders just kind of ran laps all over them. Looked like a Jarrett Stidham revenge game at the beginning. He went 4 for 6, made a couple nice throws over the middle. He looked pretty good. Kind of some cause for concern, I'd say, for the Patriots after this preseason. Alex, what were your initial thoughts on Friday?
I don't think I learned anything. And I mean that in the sense of there was nothing that happened that I was like, wow, this is new, right? Like the offense struggled for the most part. They kind of put it together late. That's been the whole summer. Into team practices, joint practices, the Panthers game, right? The starting offense. We saw it against in joint practices too. They struggled at the beginning. Sorry. And then at the end of the day on Wednesday, they kind of figured it out, right? So it's confirmation. And this is something, by the way, that's not this year only. Like this is going back to the Cam Newton year where there were troubles with them starting slow. It's the thing that they've had to overcome for a while now. So here we go again with it. It seems like it's going to be another factor this year. Defensively, I know there were some breakdowns. I'm actually not super worried about the defense. I think a lot of their issue, like the specific issues in that game, were either things they can clean up really easily or just preseason specific issues, right? You're not game planning necessarily in those games. You look at the touchdown stretch run to the left they had, right? You have Josh Uche on the end there, just like knifing inside and blowing the play.
Right.
Josh Uche is a pass rusher. I don't think he's going to be in the game in that spot in a game that matters. I think they wanted to see how it would go. That's probably going to be Anthony Jennings or Lawrence Guy or Dietrich Wise, maybe LeBrian Ray right in that spot. So that's not something that concerns me. Jelani Tavaya getting beat down the seam by a tight end. I'd like to say you hope he's not going to have coverage responsibilities in the regular season. Maybe they wanted to see him in coverage, but that's going to be Raekwon McMillan or Mac Wilson or one of the safeties, right? It's just, you're trying to do things where you want to see what things look like so you know what options you have. So the defense, to me, can all be easily cleaned up. I'm not worried about the defense. The defensive front, I think, is one of the best in the league. We'll see how much the secondary can do. Like, that's going to be the question. Can the secondary carry the weight? Yeah. Jack Jones certainly looked promising. I'm sure we'll get to him, right? Yeah. But it's, everything that happened with the defense wasn't great, but it was relatively easily fixable. The offense, it really feels like, the offensive line they don't look like they're on the same page. Nope. Mac's internal clock is sped up, which is scary. I talked about that with Ted Johnson yesterday on the Sports Hub. That's not an easy thing to fix. They can't run the ball to the outside. It doesn't look great for the offense right now.
Let's get into the offense a little more to start, because a rough go of it for the first team. They can't get anything going early. Like you just mentioned about, they have these slow starts and then all of a sudden they pick it up in an instant, and it's almost like, okay, we talk about that constantly for the last 2-3 years, even since Brady left. And it's like, but when does that end? And when does it end and how does it get fixed? Because all of us, like, you can't win games like that. You can't rely on, we're just going to figure it out. Especially if you're a run-heavy team. Right. Oh no, we're just going to figure it out. Like, you can't rely on that. How do we fix that? Mac didn't look comfortable. His offensive line seemed to be failing him. He doesn't, it's just a brutal interception by him. Not really. I don't want to say it wasn't his fault because he threw it in between 5 guys right in the guy's breadbasket, but it's just, like you say, his internal clock sped up.
Right. So
what's the fix?
So let's break that down. It's a rough read by him. It's a bad read by him. Why did he make a bad read? Because he didn't know how much time he had, right?
Right.
So for those who don't know what the internal clock is, and Mike, you might be able to explain it better than me because you actually played quarterback at a level beyond 6th grade Pop Warner. But to kind of explain it, basically, when a quarterback's sitting there in the pocket, right? You know, as a quarterback, based on what you have called, based on what the other team, what you suspect the other team has called, right? all right, I have 3 seconds to get rid of this ball. I have 4 seconds to get rid of this ball. It's a quick one. I have 2 seconds to get rid of this ball. And you see it, or I have 2 seconds to get rid of it, or,
Right.
peel out or step up or whatever, right? You kind of know how much time you're going to have. And you see, like, with the elite quarterbacks, it's almost like they know when a guy throws the ball, like, right when the rush is getting to him, and it's like, man, how did he see that rusher? He knew to get that away just in time. He probably didn't see him. It's probably he knew on tape, based on studying, how much time he had.
Yep.
He got rid of it. This is something Mac was really good with last year. It was something he was really good with at Alabama. His internal clock was on. Now, you can screw up a quarterback's internal clock when you start, because you might know, all right, we have this call against this look, 3 seconds. And if you have about 3 seconds most of the time, you're going to feel pretty comfortable with that. If you think you have 3 seconds and then suddenly you only have a second and a half, and it happens again and again, you're going to start to get a little jittery in the pocket.
Exactly. And it messes everything up.
Right. And I don't want to say this is I'm going to make this comparison. This is like if it keeps going. This is the worst case scenario down the road, right? This isn't what's happened right now. But you look at Josh Rosen. This is exactly what happened to Josh Rosen. I know people think Josh Rosen's a joke. He was a really promising prospect coming out of UCLA. And that Cardinals line they put him behind might have been the worst offensive line in the NFL in the last 10 years. It's in the top 5. And he basically, his internal clock got ruined. And he got very jittery in the pocket. He was afraid to go through his progressions. He couldn't get his feet set. He's thrown off his back foot, all of it. Rosen's one example. It's happened to a ton of quarterbacks. When I was on with Ted Johnson yesterday, he talked about it happened to Drew Bledsoe late in his career, right? When he went to Buffalo and then Dallas, that Dallas offensive line was putrid and Bledsoe got sped up. It's not impossible to overcome, but for a young quarterback, it's really not something you want to expose them to. So I don't think it's not beyond repair with Mac. I say that all, and I want to reel it back in because I realize people will freak out hearing me say that. A couple bad preseason games, you can come back from that, but you still have to do it because you can see the early stages of it where when people say Mac looks uncomfortable in the pocket, he looks jittery, all this. This is why. It's not because Mac got worse or Mac is suddenly afraid to stand in the pocket. It's because he doesn't have the protection he had last year, and now he's unsure of what his pocket situation is on any given snap.
Right.
And again, you're a quarterback. You might be able to explain it better than me, but that's my best.
That's exactly what it is. And it's not when your internal clock gets sped up by different things. It's rarely, I guess, the quarterback's fault. It's more so with everything else around him because you watch the tape, you practice, you game plan. And once the offensive line kind of crumbles around you and it's not what you expect it to be, that's when it continues to speed up. You get more like nervous and kind of,
antsy.
What's going on around me, antsy. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think you tweeted it during the game and I kind of made a note of it as well. But once they let Max sort of spread out and just let it rip, he got in his own rhythm. He had 3+ plays consecutively to Parker, Aguilar, and Bourne. He made quick reads. He got the ball out. It's like they just kind of, they shift the offense into this different thing, and then it works. He finished 9 of 13 for 71 yards. It was fine, but it's not consistent, and it has to get consistent fast.
Well, I would say,
go ahead.
So no, you talk about, when they spread it out and they go to, 4 wide, 5 wide.
Right.
One, that's more like what he did at Alabama and what he did last year. I think it better plays to his skill set. And even with the clock thing, like the other stuff they're doing, the play action, rolling back under center, that's a lot tougher. When you're in the gun, it's very simple. You get the ball 1, 2, 3. Like it's much cleaner, right?
Under center play action too. You turn your head to the defense, so you completely lose where everyone goes for a second. You have to refine people,
right?
And that's with a worse offensive line, that's gonna mess up your whole rhythm as well. So.
Especially a quarterback that's not used to doing that. Mac primarily ran the gun in college. And the other thing is, so when you go to that 4 wide, right, and you can motion the running back out, and you can do other motion stuff, you sort of force the defense to declare, right? If you're in 5 wide and there's nobody in the box, all right, you probably have man, or they're disguising it pretty heavily, you probably have man. You can put guys in motion, see man or zone. When you're under center and you have motion built into some of these plays, you can't necessarily do that. So there's opportunities. This is where and I'm not saying Mac can't necessarily handle it, but the reality of where we're at is the entire offense has taken a step back, and I think you sort of need to reset that Mac just looks a lot more comfortable in that gun spread look. And I think right now the best thing they can do is put Mac in a situation where he's comfortable.
Yeah. Another injury that happened during Friday's game. Ty Montgomery goes down with what looked to be a lower leg injury. We haven't heard anything about it yet.
No.
What do you take from that? Anything?
Uh, I think
Just
that's
that it's the weekend?
well. So I'll go off this. I think that with Thornton we heard within 24 hours, right?
Right.
So I'm going to use that as an example and say this is probably a good sign that we haven't heard.
Okay.
I that's all I'm going off of. I don't know, but I
Right.
think if it was something legitimately serious, we would have heard about it. Now we'll get a better idea this week. If they place him on IR, he's going to miss at least 4 games, right? So we'll know. If they don't place him on IR, that's a huge sign. I think I said that with Thornton last week, but it's still true.
Yeah. Right. Running back room looks pretty depleted now with Montgomery potentially out. Kevin Harris, who I've been down on pretty much all camp, 6th-round pick. He actually looked pretty good. He had 4 carries for 54 yards, but he also had 1 real fumble and 1 what could have been a fumble, which he ended up being down. But ball security questions for Harris in Friday's game, which I don't think that looks good for his outlook. Bill always wants, I think you tweeted at ball security's job security. And what do you think of the running backs more so on Friday with that?
So I'm working on my roster projection a little bit during the game, and obviously I'm open to changing it during the game. I don't want people to think I jump ahead, but and as an example, Kevin Harris running hard. I'm ready to put him on. I don't see it with JJ Taylor, as people who watch this show know, but then, like you said, Harris puts the ball on the ground twice. And I know the second one wasn't ruled a fumble, but that's not how they look at it. They look at it as you put the ball on the ground. The way the Patriots coach you, doesn't matter if you're down and you let go. You should stand up, hand the ball back to the official. That's what they want you to do.
Yep.
So Kevin Harris puts the ball on the ground twice. JJ Taylor makes that great effort play, right, to go recover that fumble. I think it was Brian Hoyer on a strip sack. Those are the kind of things that they look at when they do this, especially when you're talking about, the roster spots 50, 51, 52, 53. So I think right now JJ Taylor has the edge. They could keep both. And I think they're going to keep Pierre Strong. I know some people have asked about them cutting Pierre Strong. I don't think they're going to cut a 4th-round
I don't either. No.
And I know you had that on Twitter, but I think JJ Taylor right now has the edge over Kevin Harris. We'll see if that one game makes a difference. But the way the Patriots grade things, and this is how they do their end of season grades and how they do, kind of now. Football's what have you done for me lately? Sport. They put more weight on the last thing they saw. And JJ Taylor had a better game Friday night than Kevin Harris did. So it might come down to that.
Yep, those running backs, they're all fighting for jobs. They're gearing up for their fall, just like job searchers on LinkedIn. So as you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make that easier, make it easier for you to find the people you want to talk to faster. You can create a job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. You can then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. LinkedIn Jobs has simple tools like screening questions, which make it easier to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right candidates that you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/beat. That's linkedin.com/beat to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Alrighty. Speaking of finding jobs, we will move into our final roster projections heading into Tuesday's cut down of at 4 p.m. Alex, you just want to go position by position here and kind of dice it up a little bit and see where you're at?
Yeah, so this is how me and Evan used to do. We used to go through our respective roster projections and then yell at each other when we had something different.
Perfect. Let's get it going then. We will start with quarterback. Think it's nice and easy. I tried to make it harder. I kept pushing the fact that Brian Hoyer could be expendable. My room is 3 quarterbacks: Mac Jones, Brian Hoyer, and Bailey Zappi. I tried to tout the emergence of Bailey Zappi, like I said, as a way to kind of squeeze Hoyer out of the frame, but it's not going to happen. He threw his 3rd interception in 3 games on Friday night. He looks like he would not be a guy who can kind of plug and play on an NFL Sunday if Mac Jones got hurt. What do you think of the quarterback room?
The other thing, I mean, even beyond that, Brian Hoyer's contract isn't one they can easily cut.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
not, last year he had like 500,000 guaranteed money. It was a 1-year deal. This year it's a 2-year deal. The dead cap hits over $1 million if they cut him. He's here.
Right.
You can revisit it next year, but he's here.
Right.
They're keeping 3 quarterbacks.
And everyone always talks about, let's hire Brian Hoyer as the quarterbacks coach and let's clear up a roster spot and he'll just coach. But coaches get paid less, they work more.
And they can't be around the players as much.
They can't be around them as much. I don't think Brian Hoyer wants to coach. I think he wants to play. He makes more money that way. He doesn't have to be in the building as much. He can be a mentor without coaching responsibilities. So he kind of has it made as the backup quarterback here, if we're being honest.
And he's on whatever year this is. If he plays, I think it's at least 6 games this year, he hits like the highest level of NFL pension. So
okay.
This is a big year for him. The other thing is, even if you want to do that, say, cut him and then re-sign him as the quarterback's coach, you still got to deal with the contract implications.
Exactly.
When players retire, you still deal with the contract implications. So he's here. He's here this year.
Yeah, Hoyer's not going to be a coach. Quarterback room, simple. Running back room, less simple, especially with the injury to Ty Montgomery. I have... And this is all going to depend on what they end up doing with Montgomery. But right now I have him out depending on where his injury sits. So if he's out, I have 4 backs.
So you think they would cut him because of the injury?
Or, I mean, would it be a season-ending IR type thing if he goes right on IR?
Okay, so you think that was bad enough that it could be... I don't think it was season-ending. I don't think it was that bad.
I think
we would have heard by now.
Did he walk off the field, though? Or did he get helped off and then carted out? Because
walked to the sideline, carted from the sideline.
Okay.
Well, limped. I should say limped to the sideline, carted off
okay.
the sideline.
Let me hear your.
I'll give the obligatory. Brady walked off in 08. So.
Yeah. Well, where's your running back room at right now?
I have 5. I had 4 before the injury. I think Montgomery's probably a short-term IR candidate. So they get these 5 guys on. They IR Montgomery, bring somebody else back.
Okay.
I've Damien and this isn't like a depth chart or anything. I'm just reading
right.
here. Damian Harris, JJ Taylor, Ty Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, Pierre Strong.
Okay.
And it's like I said before, it's between Taylor and Harris. Taylor had the better game Friday night. So that's what it comes down to. And I just could they keep 4 and then IR Montgomery and have 3? They could, but they don't seem super confident in Pierre Strong right now. Just he got the slow start to camp and all that. So if you do that, well, now you essentially have 2 backs, which is not enough, no. And then maybe they bring back Kevin Harris, but that's still, or JJ Taylor, but it's not enough, right? So I think they do have to roll with 5. And I will use this excuse to take a little victory lap on the people who during the draft, when I said I liked the Pierre Strong pick, they have enough running backs. Why are they taking 2? Bill wants all running backs. And I told you it's not enough because the way that position works, you're not going to have enough depth. Here we go.
Yep, James White retires. Ty Montgomery gets hurt. Yeah, exactly.
They only need 1 running back, Mike. It's fantasy football, not real football. Yeah.
And I agree. But that last spot between Taylor and Harris, I think Taylor won it on Friday. Kevin Harris coughing up the ball a little bit. JJ Taylor, like you said, makes that effort play, which it's what have you done for me lately type league. They see that kind of stuff on tape. They see it during game. I think J.J. Taylor won it over Kevin Harris. Someone who, like you say, they could bring back, but I was not that very impressed with Kevin Harris this preseason.
I was and I wasn't. I was impressed in the sense that he looks healthier than I thought he would coming off that back injury. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he put the ball on the ground twice. That is what it is.
Right. Okay. Wide receiver. 6 guys.
Yep.
Devontae Parker, Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar.
Yep.
Kendrick Bourne.
Wait, sorry. Who was yours? Who are your running backs? Sorry. Did you say yours?
Running backs. Running backs. I have Harris, Stevenson, Strong, Taylor, and Ty Montgomery, depending on the injury.
So Taylor same 5 as me.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Taylor beats out Harris for the last spot. Yeah.
Okay.
Taylor beats out Harris for the last spot.
Yeah.
Wide receivers.
Yep.
Parker, Myers.
Yep.
Aguilar.
Yep.
Bourne.
Yep.
Tyquan.
Yep.
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
LJ. Yep.
Is my last guy.
I'll go horns down just because, even though we'll talk about the horns later.
Fair.
But
yeah, I think. Go ahead.
No, it's another position where the injury changed it. I think they would have been fine with 5. I think they could have gotten by with 5, but Thornton's
Yeah,
probably going to get put on IR to start
right.
the season. Little Jordan Humphrey will give you some special team snaps as well. I think that sneaks him on. He's beat out Trey Nixon.
Yep,
Maybe
totally.
Christian Wilkerson could have made a run if he didn't get hurt. That injury is unfortunate, but
Yeah,
it's the reality of it. I think it's Humphrey.
yeah, I agree. He basically just didn't need to mess up on Friday, and he didn't. He only had 2 catches for 7 yards, but I think he brings a lot more to the table than some of the other guys. Trey Nixon led them in receiving, I think, for the preseason, but he kind of panned off towards the end, and I think LJ just stayed more consistent. I also saw that, and I saw this originally from Phil Perry from NBC Sports Boston, but if they could use Humphrey in like a tight end flex more type role,
Right.
bigger body, keep him in line a little bit, even flex off the side. I think they tested that out a little bit on Friday. He was inside a little bit more. So I think that, his versatility just helps him make the team. But yeah, I think that those are going to be their 6 to start. Thornton goes to IR and then maybe bring someone back like a Nixon or depending on Wilkerson's injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. All right. Wide receivers were the same so far.
Yep.
Let's go to tight end. I have Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith, and that's it.
Yep.
What about you?
Same. And
Same
like you
thing?
said,
Okay.
LJ can give you some of those snaps. I think too, Matt Sokol
Yeah.
or Devin Asiasi, they can probably
Hmm.
get, or even Jalen Weidermeyer is an interesting prospect, right?
Right.
They can probably get one of those guys, at least one, if not multiple, on the practice squad. If they
Hmm.
feel they need a third tight end, like this is where the practice squad elevation rules change, right?
Right.
You can elevate a third tight end, and if the matchup dictates and you want a third tight end for the game, you can bring
Hmm.
them up. For the most part, when they use a third tight end, it's a blocking thing. They'll just throw another tackle out there. They're going to be
Right.
a better blocker anyway.
Hmm.
So if they feel they need a third pass catching tight end or somebody gets hurt, they can elevate someone. It's not a spot they need to give a roster spot to.
Right. And I went back and forth, I think, 3 times when I did my 3 projections with Devin Asiasi. I think I had him on or off, on, off. When with Henry missing some time last week, I thought that maybe they'd want to keep a third guy around just in case on the 53. But Asiasi didn't play on Friday. I think he might kind of be a little bit banged up as well. So like we said before, Humphrey kind of being able to mend the fence between the wide receiver tight end room makes
Right.
Asiasi ultimately expendable. So 2 tight ends there. I also Jonnu Smith, I think, is going to have a much better year this year than he did last year. I think they're gonna use him more. They're gonna use him more to his strengths. And after a complete dud of a 2021, I'm really excited to see what he does because he was solid in Tennessee and he can kind of make a difference here too.
Yeah. I think, I don't know that he's going to play up to the contract the way people want him to, but
No,
I think he'll be
right.
better.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move to the offensive line. I have 9 guys. What about
9.
you? Yes.
It's 7.
7. Okay.
So
I
they
have
usually keep 8 or 9.
sure.
But with the practice squad elevation rules, they usually only dress 7. So keep the guys you're going to
Right.
dress, and if you feel you need an extra one for a certain game, you can bring them up. So
That's
all
fair.
right, we have the starting 5, right?
Yes.
Andrews, Brown, Strange, and when to win.
Right.
I'm guessing James Ferentz.
Ferentz.
And then I have Kajust as the extra tackle. I think he was better than Huron and better than Yasir Durant overall this summer. So and then that's my 7. And then you'd probably see Huron if he makes it through, or Cody Russi, or Yasir Durant, or Arlington Hambright. Probably multiple guys on the practice squad who could be promoted when needed.
Correct. I had the starting 5, and then I also have Ferentz, Russi, Huron, and Kajust. So I have four swing guys on the back end. I think that with the injury / like dud type performances from Wynn and Trent Brown, I know Trent Brown's going to be fine, but keeping multiple guys around just to kind of be able to plug and play and move guys around the line on Wenu can go both ways. I just think that having more is better than less at that position.
Wait,
so that's why I kept 9. Yeah.
you think having more versatility means you have to keep more players?
Not necessarily, but I just think they like these guys. Someone like Cody Russi kind of came on strong at over the last couple weeks too. I think he showed that he's maybe deserving of a spot. and I don't know. I just think I like all those 9 guys, so that's where I had it.
I mean, that's you're gonna be real thin on defense, but all right. I think they're look, and 7's low, and I do a lot
Right.
of what I do based on what they do historically, and I'm
Right.
breaking that trend here.
Yeah.
You know, if you gave me 7.5, I honestly might take the over. I
Right.
think that with the practice squad elevation and none of the depth guys outside of Cajusa stood out. At the end of the day, I would have loved to keep 8. I didn't think an 8th guy really earned a roster spot.
That's fair. And there's a nice okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's where I had it. I had 9, so we'll continue on. We'll agree to disagree at that position. I guess we're not yelling as much as you and Evan, but we're definitely disagreeing on the offensive line. D line. I'll let you go first here.
Okay, so here's the thing: do you do edge or no?
No, I have D line linebackers.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
it's not a real position. I get using it for the draft because some guys might be an outside linebacker in one scheme and a defensive end in the other, but we know what scheme this is. We know what scheme. So defensive linemen, I have, let me do 3, 4, 5, I have 6. I have 6 defensive linemen. How many do you have?
I have 5.
Okay.
Who are,
so I have Barmore,
yep.
Carl Davis, Devon Godshaw, Lawrence Guy, LeBrian Ray, Dietrich Wise.
Okay.
And then a reminder, Daniel Aquale is suspended, so he doesn't count, but they don't have to cut him.
Right. My 5 are Wise, Godshaw, Guy, Barmore, LeBrian Ray. I don't have Carl Davis. So you ended up cutting Henry Anderson.
I did end up. So the way I saw it, there's really 4 guys competing for the last 2 spots there. It's the 2 veterans, Davis and Henry, and then LeBrian Ray and Sam Roberts, the rookies, competing for 2 spots. And I think they really like Davis. I think he's a leader in that room. If they want to move Godshaw around, have him play some 3 tech like he did last year when he looked at his best, or even some 5 tech, Davis can be the true nose when they do that. Carl Davis, he's not a very versatile player, but he's very, very good at what he does. And given how they struggled against the run last year, you'd think they'd want a guy like that. And then I think between the 2 rookies, I think LeBrian Ray offers more. I think he's been better. I think he has more positional versatility. I think he has higher upside. Sam Roberts is probably a guy they can get back on the practice squad.
Exactly.
So I don't think they'd keep both veterans because you want to keep at least one of those rookie contracts, but that's how I split it.
Yeah. I think, at the end of the day, like we said, I feel like Henry Anderson was just kind of, he didn't, I mean, granted, he's a veteran guy. He's a veteran presence, but I think there's more potential with these younger guys like a LeBrian Ray. Sam Roberts popped early, kind of, I don't want to say fell off, but he just kind of.
Well, he played well in 2 games, but that's really it. He didn't necessarily carry that over to practice.
Exactly.
And then the game he didn't necessarily pop in was the 3rd game.
Right. Which, like we said, what have you done for me lately?
Right.
So those are our D lines. Linebackers, no edges. We'll go right to linebackers. I have 6 guys. I have Judon, Bentley, Uche, McMillan, Mac Wilson, and Anthony Jennings.
I have Bentley, Jennings, Judon, McMillan, Tavai, Uche, Wilson.
You went Tavai, huh? You're listening to Bill.
But all right, so first off, with the projections like the mock drafts, it's not what I would do. It's me trying to guess what they would do. I would not keep Jelani Tavai. Right. Bill has told us. They never tell us anything. Bill straight up told us Jelani Tavai is going to make the team and be a big part of what they do. Why are you just ignoring him?
But he's not going to stand up there and say, like, yeah, we're probably going to cut Jelani Tavai. He's probably not going to make this squad.
He was asked a month ago about the linebackers. He brought Jelani Tavai up unprompted.
But he still has to. He's not going to sit here and say, yeah, these guys aren't going to be around. He's not going to say,
Mike,
oh, well, we don't have.
He was asked about unprompted. He's the one who brought it up. They didn't say, what do you think of Jelani Tavai? They said, what do you think of your linebacker room? And he said, Jelani Tavai is going to make a difference. He told you. This is like when you're taking a test in school and the teacher accidentally leaves one of the answers up on the board.
He's just not that good.
I don't disagree.
But like
I don't disagree.
But so I think they're gonna go into this and they're gonna look at it and they're gonna try and find their projections over these next couple of days. And even if Bill's like, oh no, blah, 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 whatever, I don't think they're gonna find the spot for him. He hasn't really shown anything. He's slow. He is slow. He has
They
rocks in his cleats.
he's a big downhill linebacker, which they like.
But they're
Bill
also
said he's become a vocal leader in that room, which is something they care about tremendously. He's a Matt Patricia draft pick, second round, 2020. Patricia took him in the top 50. He's making the team. He's making the, like, again, I'm not going to sit here and argue that he should, but
right.
Bill told us he's making the team. I don't get why, like, they never tell us anything. We're always, man, if only they were a little more open, it would make it so much easier. And they tell us something, and people are just like, no, that's not it. So I
don't think they're gonna do it.
You think this is
I just don't think they're gonna do it.
From Bill?
Yeah, it's a big
maybe try to raise his trade value.
Yeah, Jelani Tavia. Exactly. Yeah,
right, maybe it is. I think Bill loves him.
I don't think they can do it. They seem to be changing.
What?
They seem to be changing from the big downhill linebacker with, you're losing Hightower. I guess Bentley's that guy, but keeping Mac Wilson in the fold, having Raekwon McMillan.
Well, let me ask this. Are they changing from it, or did they need to replace Dante Hightower? Is he here to replace Dante Hightower? Or not replace Dante Hightower, but Bentley steps into Hightower's role, and Tavia steps into Bentley's old role as that second downhill linebacker.
You'd rather speed. You'd rather speed.
I know that's what you'd rather. I know that's what you'd
rather. I just think, but in this NFL, you need that speed there instead of the big
I know that. I know that.
So then they're not going to...
telling you what Bill has told us, and he has shown us every single thing they have done to this point. You need to take what you believe out of it. That's not what we're doing here. Every single thing they've done to this point tells us they plan on putting Jelani Tavia on the team, including Bill telling us verbatim.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that?
Less than a month ago.
You don't think things can change from a month ago?
Let me put it this way. He got hurt at practice.
Okay.
When the guys get hurt at practice, they normally hold those guys out as long as they can. They want them to rehab and all that, and they want to see what they have behind them. They put Tavia right back on the field.
Yeah, because he has to earn a spot, and he hasn't.
No, because he's important to what they're doing, and they want him out there practicing. Mike, if Bill...
I know. You
called you right now and said, Mike, Jelani Tavia is going to make this team. Like, would you put him on? Because Bill's done everything short of that to tell you he's going to make this team.
If he did it right now, sure, I guess I'd put him on.
All right, well, he's done everything short of that to tell you.
Well, we'll see how it plays out before Tuesday at 4. Let's move on. Cornerbacks. This is the room that I have had a hard time with ever since Terrence Mitchell came running on the field as the first guy on the field on first Wednesday of camp. Cornerbacks, I have 6. How many do you have?
I have also 6.
Okay.
We'll see if we have the same 6.
All right, let's make it simple to start. Jalen Mills.
All right. Yep.
John Jones.
Yep.
Marcus Jones.
Yep.
Jack Jones.
Yep.
Miles Bryant.
Yep.
Shaun Wade.
Okay, interesting. So I have the first 5.
Yep.
And then I count Justin Bethel as a corner because they actually play him at corner.
Okay. See,
well, I have him. Are you cutting Bethel or do you have him?
No, he's a specialist. I have him as his own specialist group.
He plays corner. He probably should play corner more than he does. He's actually not bad at it when they let him do it.
Right, but they'd rather keep him, I guess, healthy, keep his snaps up for the special teams, obviously.
Terrence Mitchell, to me, kind of plateaued a little bit after the strong start. I didn't think, based on the way camp started, he'd get cut, but moving Jonathan Jones to the outside is in some ways an indictment on him. They seem like they want to do this whole positionless thing. I don't know that he has a ton of positional versatility. Mitchell does compared to some of these other guys. Yep. And I still have Wade off because in that game against the Panthers, he made those 2 massive special teams mistakes. And it caught Bill's attention. And I just don't know that he did enough this week. And he was hurt to get back in the favor.
Yeah.
Like, he could still make the roster. He could still make the practice squad. But I had to give it, Miles Bryant made the plays that he didn't. And that's what it came down to for me.
Last week, you pushed back on me a little bit, having Terrence Mitchell off, saying that they were going to be too young. What changed? Just you think that he just kind of, like you said, he plateaued?
He plateaued, and I think he
got dusted against, I forget who it was on that one play
Adams,
on Friday.
Devontae. On the deep post.
No, yeah. Yeah.
What changes? I kind of just, we got a better look at what they plan to do with the starters. And
Right.
I think that they want guys who can play in as many spots as possible.
Hmm.
For me, Miles Bryant is a tremendously
Yeah.
versatile player.
Right.
He fits more what they want to do. Yeah, it's a young room, but it's not a great room. It's not. They're going to have to make
Right.
sacrifices somewhere. And I think at this point, so what changed is I thought that it'd maybe value having a veteran on that group. I think
Right.
what they value more probably is the positional versatility at this point, and that's why I went
Yeah.
with Miles Bryant.
And their young
And
guys kind of.
honestly, I between Sean Wade and Terrence Mitchell, I might go Sean Wade for the same
Yeah.
reason. If they are going to
Right.
keep another one, Sean Wade is more positional versatility than Terrence
Definitely.
Mitchell does.
Yeah. And Jack Jones had a day on Friday night as well. He
Looking like Tabucky Jones.
Yeah, he was.
Are you
He
too
was
young
flying.
to know who Tabucky Jones is?
No, I know Tabucky
Okay.
Jones.
Well, you know
Yeah.
who he is, but to know like how
No,
he played,
Yeah.
it's like a big thumping safety, and he wore 34
Exactly.
for the Patriots. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Jack Jones kind of he flew around on Friday. He made a couple plus plays that I think that if they didn't think that these younger guys had more potential and they could rely on them a little bit more, then I think they would have kept Terrence Mitchell around. But I think that they showed enough to make him expendable at the end of the day. Same with Miles Bryant. Miles Bryant popped a little bit more. He looked solid. He looked dependable. Hopefully he doesn't play the same way he played against Buffalo on their playoff game up in Buffalo. But anyway, let's go. I think that makes sense for corners. Let's go to safety. My favorite room on the Patriots. I think
yeah,
their
this is probably
safeties.
their best position group.
Yeah. I have 5. But so let's
I have
table
5.
this
We have
for
the
a
same
second.
group. I mean, there's only like 6 safeties on the roster.
Right. But you
didn't
don't
keep.
have a specialists group.
No, I do. I just don't put
Okay.
Bethel in it
Okay.
because I think he's a corner.
Okay.
Like
Got
I
it.
used to put Brady. I didn't put Brandon Bolden in specialist. I put him in running back when he was
That's
here.
true. Okay.
So
Safeties. McCourty.
you didn't keep Hawkins, right?
No.
All right. So we have the same group. Yeah, it's
Okay,
McCourty,
yeah.
Peppers, Phillips, Duggar, and Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. Yes. Bledsoe was probably my last guy on the roster.
Okay, so I want to do that later. Hang on, because when I do I don't know if you've seen my roster projections. I do a thing where I do it like the March Madness bubble. I do the first 3 on, first 3 off. So I want to get into that. But yeah, I know some people don't necessarily see it with Bledsoe. He kind of popped at the beginning of camp and fade a little bit. Yeah. He's going to play special teams.
Right.
I think they like his upside. I don't think they want to risk exposing him. And I'll tell you, they really like him. I'll tell you that right now. I think they really like him.
It sounds a little informed, Alex Barth.
There's a lot that he does that I think they would really like. So
yeah, no, I agree. He looked good. I think that he's a guy that they want to keep around. I think that again, this safety room.
That sounds a little informed, Mike.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me and all my sources in this industry. But Jabril Peppers, I think they're gonna keep him. I think he has value. That's kind of not anything like he didn't really show it. It's just kind of like, oh, Jabril Peppers is going to make this team because he's Jabril Peppers.
Yeah, no, I am. And, the one play he has from the preseason now is the helmet to helmet.
Right,
so
yeah.
I have him on. I hope he makes the team. I hope the reason he wasn't playing, well, I don't want to say I hope the reason he wasn't playing is he's hurt because I want him to be hurt. Right. But, like, you'd like to think, maybe he's still rehabbing that versus maybe they just didn't want to put him on the field because they didn't think he had it. Yeah. I think he has tremendous upside here, but yeah, I am starting to want I wouldn't.
Could that be a surprise cut? I think that. Yeah, exactly.
Is it? It's kind of an oxymoron to say I wouldn't be surprised if he's the surprise cut, but yeah,
I agree with that. He, like I said, it's kind of just Jabril Peppers. I feel like he's just going to make the team. He's a guy who, he could be that surprise cut.
Right.
All right. The last group, it's the most Patriots group, and it's the specialists.
Yep.
I have 7, which includes Justin Bethel, Bailey, Folk, Cardona, Slater.
Yep.
Bethel, Cody Davis.
Yep.
Brendan Schooler.
Yep. I finally put Brendan Schooler on. I had him off last week. I got some heat for that. You can't deny it anymore. And by the way, I am so people know, I am very picky with putting the players of camp on my roster projection.
Yeah.
Except Gunner, I had on right away. Gunner, I had on, I think after the spring. And I will remind people this as much as I can. Evan Lazar at the time said Future All-Pro Gunnar Olszewski. Not only did Evan say he didn't belong on an NFL roster, Evan said he didn't belong in an NFL camp, and he's now an All-Pro. So I will remind people of that as long as I can. But like Quinn Nordine, never put Quinn Nordine on. Didn't see it. Trey Nixon last year, I know he made the push. Christian Wilkerson, didn't put either of them on. Like I am, when it comes to the it players at camp, I am somebody who very much waits. Schooler's legit.
Yeah.
Schooler, I think, is on. He's made too many plays at this point. I don't buy you put him on and take Cody Davis off. They do separate things. I think people just look at special teamers as, special teamers. It's different positions. There's gunners, there's protectors, there's this and that. Yeah.
Totally.
I don't think Davis's roster spot is as up in the air as people think it is.
No.
But yeah, Schooler's done enough to this point. He's on.
Yeah, he'll make it. He's playing their like punt protector position on the punt team, personal protector, and I know that they never show it. I know that they very, very seldom run a fake punt. But the day that they snap the ball to Brendan Schooler and he runs it up the middle on a 4th and short is the day that I can't wait to see as a Patriots fan.
Well, he's a converted receiver. He was a receiver in college first, and then he transitioned to safety. So he's somebody who can. I wouldn't be surprised if they ever need an emergency kick returner if they put him back there.
Yeah. So that's that for our projections. So
wait, hang on. So give me your last 3, or I'll give you mine first, so you can think about it.
Yeah, you go first, because I didn't do it. I'll think about it a little bit.
I put it in mine. So my last 3 on, right? This is the bubble. My last 3 on are JJ Taylor, Yannick Kajus, and Brendan Schooler. And my first 3, like the guys, if you could expand the roster to 56, would be Terrence Mitchell, Kevin Harris, and Sam Roberts. That's my roster bubble.
Okay. I would agree with Harris, and I would agree with Terrence Mitchell, obviously. Okay. Sam Roberts, again, I didn't do it, so I'm kind of going off the cuff here. I would say that Sam Roberts is right on the fringe, too.
Okay.
Maybe, or for myself, Carl Davis, because I had him off. I feel like he's a first three off type guy. Last 3 on, I have Josh Bledsoe, Brendan Schooler as well, and Cody Russi. Cody Russi's my last
9 linemen. One of them.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
You're not even putting Tavai next 3 on. You're really confident that Bill is
he's
just
not good. He's not good. He can't play. I don't think he can play NFL football on Sundays.
Let me ask you this, and I know people think Bill is this dishonest guy. You go back, and I've actually done this exercise personally. I did it a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. You go back through the transcripts. Bill doesn't outright lie. There might be lies of omission. There might be, I don't know, or we'll see, when like he does know, right? But he will rarely say something that directly contradicts the truth. If you ask him about a player, he won't say, oh yeah, that guy's been like, if you ask him about a player's having a bad camp, he'll say we're all out here improving, right? It's a lie of omission.
Right.
He wouldn't say something like Jelani Tavai is going to be a big part of what we do and then cut. Like, that's just not how he operates. I just don't get, like, I get it in the sense that I know you see what you're seeing on the field. I see it too, but they are telling us, they are showing us this guy is going to play, and you're just la 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 la. Like, that's not going to do anything.
It's just a bad football decision.
I have fun being wrong.
I'm happy to be wrong about Jelani Tavai being on a 53-man roster.
Should never be happy to be wrong.
I'll be happy to be wrong about that. Okay, those are our rosters. We have until 4 p.m. on Tuesday to kind of wait and see this out. Moves will obviously trickle in as that comes up. They're not going to all be shown at 4. Talking about, I guess this is just kind of a quick thing from last year, but talking about Bill and how he kind of foreshadows what's happening. Last year, all throughout camp, he talked about Cam Newton's our quarterback. And then all of a sudden, he changed his tune.
So, but something happened, right? Remember, Cam Newton went to, was it Georgia? Where he went to the doctor's appointment. Didn't get the approval. Mac Jones has the practice. That's what I was calling it. The practice. Mac Jones has the practice against the Giants where he tore them up. And after that, yes, Bill's tone changed after that. So if Jelani Tavai did something that hurt the team, And
Like
then
not
Bill
being
started
good at football? What about like not
talking.
being good at
Okay,
football?
but Bill's still being asked about Jelani Tavaya and still speaking positively about him. The tone and change isn't there.
But then
I
he's
don't think
not
Bill
gonna.
lied about Cam Newton. I think it was the truth in that moment, and the reality changed.
Okay, but he touts Tavaya. He's then asked about him after that, and he's not gonna just be like, "Oh yeah, he hasn't been doing well," and like
Oh no, he
he's gonna
totally would. He
he's
totally
gonna.
would.
We're gonna wait
So
and
I'm
see.
trying to find here. The last time Bill was asked about Jelani Tavaya
Yeah.
was August 23rd. So he made those comments on August 2nd. This is 20 days later. What have you seen from Jelani Tavaya? Bill, yeah, Jelani's done a good job. He came in last year and picked things up quickly. He's a smart kid, really good football player, and can do a lot of different roles on the line, end of the line, third down, kicking game. He does a lot of things. Did that in Detroit, did some of that in college. He was able to pick that up. Of course, this year it's different for him being here in the offseason program, being here from the start of training camp. He's really developed a leadership role on the team, really good communicator. He's done a good job for us. Versatility, communicator, leader. They don't cut those guys. They don't. They did it with Lawyer Malloy once. And Jelani Tavaya's contract is not Lawyer Malloy's contract.
No. He's just not good.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know.
I'm not.
I know.
But,
I know.
again, Bill is slapping you in the face with this.
I know.
And you're just ignoring it.
I know.
It's
All right.
pouring rain outside, and you're
It
sitting
is.
there at the beach like, oh, what a beautiful day.
It's sunny. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see how that plays out. Again, we've done far too much Jelani Tavaya talk for one sitting here, but that's gonna be kind of the linchpin of this roster, I think, because
Well, but here's the thing. I think the defense overall is going to be good. I really do.
Right.
I like their defense.
I'm not worried
this
about their
goofy
defense.
thing that
Yeah.
happens. People have compared him to Jordan Devy, but and maybe there's an app comparison there. I think overall the defense is going to be good.
I'm not worried.
I say this all kind of tongue in cheek. Jelani Tavaya or no, I think the defense is going to make some plays this year.
Right, exactly. All right, so that's it for our roster projections. Let's jump in quickly to let's change the background up here a little bit as I produce this show. Boston Sports Minute.
Do you want to do that or the college football one first?
Well, we're gonna do it all in one. We're gonna do a college football / Boston Sports Minute. Week 0 of college football started yesterday. There was a big Big Ten
college
game.
football. That's a football. That's a Patriots beat thing.
Yeah, but it's still it's outside of Patriots. It's college football.
Nah, I got you. It's football though. It's football. Boston Sports Minute. It's not football.
All right, fine. College football minute. Week 0 started yesterday. Big Ten game out in Dublin. Scott Frost is on the hottest seat imaginable, and Northwestern beats Nebraska 31-28. I didn't catch much of the game, but what'd you see?
Oh, it was a great game. It was good. It was back. It was like college football's back, baby. It was back and forth. It was stupid. Scott Frost got asked after the game if he thinks he should step down, which is a fantastic question. He's 5-30 in one-score games with 9 losses in a row in one-score games. Unbelievable. That was a really fun game to watch. A great, entree or entry into the college football season. Yeah. I will say that. So, Mike, I think, do I have to get my playoff teams now, or can I wait until week 1? And it's no week 0 teams. So obviously I'm not, I thought Nebraska maybe until yesterday, Desmond Howard put Nebraska winning the Big Ten West or North or whatever it is.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing. This isn't my take. I'm going to workshop this with you on the air. This isn't hammered in yet because I hate half of this take. I really do. But I think these might be the playoff teams. Alabama's going to win the national championship. They're out for blood. Saban called last year a bridge year. They got, 2 of the top Heisman candidates on their roster, Bryce Young and Will Anderson. That team's going to be a wagon. They're going to win the Natty. That's not easy. A workshop. I'll tell you that right now.
Nope.
Ohio State also has a tremendous roster this year. Love what Ohio State's doing. So that's your national championship right there.
Sure.
Here's where I start to get a little more shaky, right? People like Clemson, Georgia's the defending national championships. Oklahoma's a traditional powerhouse. Clemson, to me, big chance for a down year. Don't love what Clemson has this year.
Yeah.
Oklahoma lost a ton of talent. They lost in the transfer portal. They lost their head coach. Georgia, they lost so much. I know they still have talent on defense, but they lost a ton. All right.
You're the college football guy over me. I know it here and there, sort of bandwagon. Who is Georgia's quarterback now?
It's still Stetson Bennett, isn't it?
Is he still there?
I think he has the COVID year.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I
thought it
don't
was
know.
still
That's
Stetson
what I
Bennett.
didn't know if Bennett was still there.
No, he's still there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But Stetson Bennett, they didn't win the Natty last year because of Stetson Bennett.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't trust him to get them back there. Anyway, continue. Sorry to cut you off.
All right. All right. So here's where I start feeling uncomfortable with it. Third seed in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
USC.
Yes.
They added
yes.
a ton of talent transfer portal. Lincoln Riley's
Yep.
there. They've got a real quarterback. The
Caleb
Pac-12 is
Williams.
kind of down. I know people like Oregon this year. I think USC can do it. I really do. And then here's where I'm super uncomfortable, because for the last 20 years, the MO with this program has been preseason hype, strong early start, massive choke. And if you don't know where I'm going with this, I think Texas might make the college football playoff.
Oh my God.
They have so much talent on that roster. I'm like, I went through and counted it, including like underclass. So not this.
Who's going to start at quarterback for Texas?
Quinn Ewers.
He is? Okay.
Not should. Going like beyond this year's draft, like just overall. They have 18 projected first round picks starting for them. They have an NFL roster. And I'm not the biggest Steve Sarkisian guy, but he's not a horrible coach.
No, he's good.
Like, let me put it this way. And look, I say this knowing full well Texas is going to start 3-0. They might even beat Bama. Right. And then they'll choke it away. And then they'll lose to like Iowa State and TCU in back-to-back weeks, right? Or Texas Tech or Kansas again. But man, if Texas can't do it this year, they're never going to do it. They are never. Let me. I got to pull up the Texas depth chart here.
Yeah, let's see it. Okay. What do you think? As you pull that up, what do you think of Oklahoma with Venables and Dylan Gabriel there? What do you think of that team?
I step back.
Yeah,
step back. I just don't think. I think obviously, I think Texas is better. I think Baylor's better this year. I like kind of the roster they have. And there's a third Oklahoma State too. I like Oklahoma State. I think they finished last year strong. They didn't lose a ton.
Yeah.
They'll be competitive in every game they're in. Like, they're not going to be bad, but it's a pretty big rebuilding year for them. Remember, they lost a ton of players in the transfer portal. So, like, I'm not sure there. I just think, man, with Texas, Xavier Worthy, first round pick. I don't know if people are familiar with Xavier Worthy. Savion Red, future. I don't know how much he's going to play this year. Future first round pick. They got Jaleel Billingsley from Alabama, who I absolutely love. Think of like a 6'3". He's like a bigger, slightly slower Tyreek Hill. I mean, he runs routes like Tyreek Hill, but he's like 6'3", 6'4". Love him. Bijan Robinson's going to be a first-round running back.
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers, a generational prospect. And then on defense, Demario Overshown is going to be my Patriots draft crush this year. I'll tell you that right now. They've got a couple 5-star corners. I mean, they're loaded. Yeah, if they don't do it this year, they're not going to do it. I'll tell you that right now. And to address the other thing I left out there, all right, so tentatively, and I still deserve the right to change this, tentatively, Bama, Ohio State, Texas, USC. So I got 4 conferences there, although really it's 2 SEC schools and 2 Big Ten schools, right?
Right.
The ACC, I don't see it in the ACC this year. I don't.
Me either.
Sam Hartman getting hurt kills Wake Forest. DJ Uiagalelei looked lost last year, and Clemson just lost Brett Venables, who has been their defensive coordinator for a long time and a big part of their success. I'm sorry, Mike, I don't see it with Kadon Slovis and Pitt, and they lost.
I was just gonna say they're ranked 17 in the preseason rankings.
They lost what's his name, the wide
Captain
receiver.
Slovis. They have Addison's at USC now.
They lost Jordan Addison. Yep, I don't see it with Pitt. Honestly, I think BC should win the ACC. I love Phil Dracovic. I think
love
Flowers
BC
is
this year.
fantastic. They got a good defense. But
BC's win total over under 6.5.
Over.
I took the over. We're taking the over.
I don't see it in the ACC this year. I don't. I really don't.
Either.
So yeah, there's your college football.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bama, Ohio State, USC, and I guess Georgia.
Like, Georgia's that's not a bad pick.
Like,
I think
it's not.
I think
it's
I'm
the
trying
easy
to get.
pick.
I think I'm trying to be different and pick, SC and Texas. Also, because if we and look, I think Alabama and Ohio State would be 1 and 2, so it wouldn't work out this way. But if we somehow got an SC Texas playoff game. And I don't know if the Rose Bowl is a playoff game this year. I actually think it is. Oh man, Texas USC in the Rose Bowl.
That would be
if you're of a certain age and you hear Texas USC Rose Bowl, you just get chills a little bit, right?
If they play the Natty there,
video game comes back next year. Is the Rose Bowl a playoff game? Hang on.
Think about the sidelines at that place too. Leinart, Vince Young, Reggie Bush, they're all gonna be there.
Oh, they would all be back there.
Oh my God, yeah. In their Lettermans.
It would be so good, Mike.
Yeah.
Hang on.
We gotta speak this into existence.
Cotton. Oh, wait. Yes, the Rose Bowl. It's the Oh, no, that's last year. No, that's what are we? 22-23?
22-23.
It's the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. Still, USC, Texas, semifinal.
Natty.
That would, well, one of them would have.
Natty
I think they're going to be 3 and 4. But like if they meet in the playoff in any way, that would be something, Mike. That would I don't care if it's New Year's Eve. I will be locked inside watching that game.
Yeah. You don't know. USC could be the 2 seed. Yeah, but then that involves OSU going down to 4, and I don't see that. So, but
maybe
a guy can dream.
Well, it's tricky. Alabama plays Texas this year. That's week 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
So that makes it interesting. But
yeah,
if Texas, if they're low losses to Bama and they win out and they win the Big 12, I mean that should make them a playoff team, right?
Yeah.
You would think,
right? If their only loss is Bama, absolutely.
Especially if there's no undefeated teams in the ACC, which again I don't think there will be. That probably puts Texas in. So,
how does Alex Barth not have a college football podcast?
Dude, I've been trying to make one for a while. It's tough. It's New England, and
this is Barth's MO.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that.
Meanwhile, none of those 4 teams will. Bama will, but the other 3 teams won't make it. Now watch.
Here we go now into our Boston Sports Minute. We'll wrap this up quickly. Celtics new wing Danilo Gallinari injures his knee yesterday playing for the Italian national team in a World Cup qualifier. Looked ugly at first. Shams Charania came in early this morning and said that it was a meniscus tear in his left knee, but ACL is intact. Gallinari himself actually also tweeted about an hour ago, official medical report, meniscus lesion. I won't play Euro basketball in my hometown. Any thoughts on Gallinari's injury and kind of also just all of these guys, like Chet Holmgren's now injured, all these guys playing outside of their NBA bubbles, coming down with injuries. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, we always talk about this, right? Even with the Olympics, guys maybe playing too much, getting hurt. And it feels like this year it's really shown up. With Gallinari, it feels like he's a big part of what the Celtics want to do. It seems like they've avoided a massive issue. It's the same injury that Rob had. You hope he's just good to go for the season. He's not necessarily, I don't want to say he's not jumping. It's basketball, right? But he's jumping to shoot, not like as physically. So you hope he'll be okay. I'm just glad. I don't know if you've heard the Danilo Gallinari song, the anthem.
I have not.
All right, I will send that to you. I would encourage people to look up Danilo Gallinari song on YouTube. I will be obnoxious with that thing this year, and I was worried that we maybe lost a shot at it. So I'm glad that it's still going to be a thing.
Yeah. I am excited again for the Celtics season, even without the possibility of Kevin Durant coming in the mix. I think he's officially going to be a Brooklyn Net for this season. They added depth to their team. I think that they're the title favorites right now. I think that they'll stick to that. Milwaukee's the only one in the East that kind of worries me, but Celtics are going to have another good season again. So Gallinari being semi-healthy at some point down the stretch will certainly help them. But yeah, again, Chet Holmgren, like I said, that in that Pro-Am, was it the crossover Pro-Am with this is Jamal Crawford who runs that thing?
Yeah.
I think thing's they're gonna write those into contracts like the Cardinals did with Kyler Murray's video game clause. If these guys keep getting hurt in these things,
I could see it. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Gallinari? Is that's it for Boston
I think
sports?
That's it.
Anything else good for Boston sports? Red Sox. I don't know why I'm wearing a Woo Sox hat. You're wearing a Fenway hat. I don't know why we're doing it.
No,
that team. No, we can't do it anymore. All right, so I think that'll wrap up our Patriots Beat podcast for this Sunday AM. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, Patriots have to get down to 53 players by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, so a lot of news is going to trickle in from here on out. You can check out my roster projection, my final roster projection on clnsmedia.com. You can check out Alex's final roster projection on 985thesportshub.com. Alex, thanks for joining me on this lovely Sunday morning. Hopefully we'll get back. Yep. Hopefully we'll get back to doing this soon.
Yeah.
Ryan might be back. We'll kind of be
Next show with Spags will either be Tuesday night or Wednesday morning to react to roster cuts. We don't know exactly when yet, but if you follow Patriots CLNS on Twitter, they'll let you know.
Yep, that'll be coming down soon. So again, thanks guys for tuning in. Alex, thank you for joining me, and
Yep.
we'll be back soon. Yeah, that's that.